starring Violet Serenity, Kaylyn Newell, Carmie, Midnight, Kat, Deanna de Keizjer, Adrian Vail, and Matthew Ellen. Absurdity Ascents is written by Emerson Arriety and narrated by Bean.
Persistent buzzing fills the air, urging Lydia to wake up. She does so, but her eyelids weigh heavily on her face.
I just saved 2 dimensions. I don't want to go to work.
Lydia shuts off the alarm clock and buries her head in the pillow.
I just want to lay here forever, not going through wormholes or use the remote again. But on the other hand...
Lydia makes a supreme effort to sit back up.
If I'm late again, I'll be laid off. What to do?
Lydia's eyes drift to her nightstand where the remote is. A thought forms in her head, and she finds herself in front of the bathroom mirror with the remote.
Do you really need a clone?
Yes.
Do you know what you're doing? You didn't read the manual.
I don't need the manual to make a clone.
Lydia presses a button on the remote and holds it down. A red beam erupts from the remote and collides with the mirror. Lydia's reflection is pulled forward and pressed up against the glass. Lydia presses another button. The beam turns purple and her reflection is pulled through the mirror and dumped unceremoniously onto the floor. Lydia stares at her reflection, who unsteadily gets to her feet. She opens her right hand, her left hand still clutching the reflection of the remote. She smiles and jumps for joy.
I'm free.
She flings her arms around Lydia.
Thank you so much for freeing me.
Lydia pats her reflection back awkwardly.
Sure.
I must repay you. Anything you want, just name it and it's yours.
Well...
Lydia pretends to think.
I'm kinda tired and I could use the day off from work, but I'll probably get laid off if I'm late.
So, you want me to go for you?
Bingo!
Isn't that sort of dishonest?
Lydia shrugs and takes a step towards the doorway.
No, not really.
Well, I did promise that I'd do anything, so okay. I will go to work for you.
Great.
Lydia walks out of the bathroom.
Wait a second, where do I work? Who are my coworkers?
Lydia pauses just outside of the doorway.
I work in sales, I don't know any of the people I work with, nor do I really care, so just don't bother with them.
Oh.
Is there anything else?
What's your name?
Jeez, for a clone, you don't seem to know much. It's Lydia.
Lydia takes another step forward.
Now, if there isn't anything else...
Don't you want to know my name? Mine's Aidyl.
Nice to meet you, Aidyl. Well, works in like 50 minutes. Don't want to be late for that.
Several blocks away, a few feet outside of Nada's apartment building, a red admiral butterfly is sitting on a flower, minding its own business. Zoe jumps in front of it and throws her hands in the air.
Yeah!
The butterfly takes off quickly, and Zoe is ripped back to the present, sitting at her sister's kitchen table. She pounds the table in frustration and thinks to herself,
I don't understand this. Why aren't my powers working?
Zoe takes a note out of her pocket.
I want to burn you today, but it seems like I must do it the old-fashioned way.
Zoe shoves it into her pocket and heads outside. Speaking of outside, London and Dallas are walking up the street towards Lydia's rented house in the suburbs.
I don't see what you're getting so riled up about.
If she's really the master of the remote, she could be doing anything right now.
She didn't seem too happy to see us. She probably didn't even open the present yet.
Even so, it's not a chance we should be taking.
The twins walk onto the porch and London rings the doorbell, because this worked so well last time. Surprisingly, the door is open. Lydia leans against the opening and takes a sip from her beer bottle.
Hey, London, Dallas, what's up?
Hi, Lydia. Did you see that present we gave you?
Yes. Did you forget that we all jumped into a black hole to get it?
Alarmed, London looks towards her sister.
Why would we remember something that never happened?
Dallas's words calm London, and the Bach twins turn their attention to Lydia.
Did it affect your memories? An entire dimension was nearly destroyed. Demo and I had to collapse the black hole while we were inside of it.
Who's Demo?
Who's Demo?
Lydia comes outside, closing the door behind her. She walks towards Bex's house.
She's a half-human, half-robot hybrid. She's living next door with Bexs.
London and Dallas look at each other briefly before following Lydia next door. Lydia rings the doorbell.
Bexs is probably at work, but Deanna doesn't have a job in this dimension.
They wait for an answer that never comes, and Lydia rings the doorbell once more.
Lydia?
She's in there. Where else would she be? It's not like she can walk all around Atlanta as she pleases.
London closes her eyes, listening to the thoughts inside. The thoughts she receives are that of an excited dog that thinks her master has come home early.
There's nobody in there but a dog.
Dallas yelps and takes a step away from the house. London glances at her momentarily, then asks Lydia,
Are you feeling okay?
What are you guys all doing over there?
Zoe is standing outside of Lydia's house. She crosses over to Bex's front lawn.
Don't you guys have jobs?
Hey Zoe, let me ask you something.
Yes?
Do you remember jumping down a black hole?
No. Why do you ask?
Because it happened yesterday and I'm the only one who seems to remember.
The only thing I remember doing yesterday was celebrating your birthday. Sorry.
Today's the 29th.
London whispers to Dallas,
I thought it was the 28th.
It is the 28th.
London remains confused, despite her sister's confirmations. Dallas asks Lydia,
What'd you do after you got the remote?
I made a black hole in my living room and then we jumped in it after I dropped the remote inside. Why don't you people remember any of this?
London says, mainly to herself,
Black holes are just portals into another dimension. I don't see how that would distort our memories. Did you do anything else?
I cloned myself because I didn't feel like going to work today.
You did what?
I had just destroyed hundreds of void holes and nearly died twice in the process. I'm really worn out. I didn't want to lose my job.
Lydia, do you know anything about mirror clones?
Said mirror clone is sitting in a cubicle, trying to read a piece of paper. She picks up her remote.
What sort of place is this?
All the letters are backwards on the other side. You want to have a mirror if you wish to be able to read anything.
A man pushes a coffee cart towards Aidyl's cubicle. She doesn't notice him, though. Let's call this man Mark.
The only mirror in this place seems to be the bathroom.
Hey, Lydia.
But I can't do all my work in.
Aidyl looks up at Mark.
That's right, you're talking to me.
You're forgetting your own name now, too?
Mark selects the only cup of coffee with a black lid on it and hands it to Aidyl. He winks at her.
I have your coffee.
Thank you.
Aidyl turns the cup around in her hands and frowns at it.
It's so cold.
Of course it's cold. Are you okay today?
Do you always bring me cold coffee?
Mark leans closer to the cubicle.
What are you trying to do? Are you trying to get me fired or something?
Of course not. I'm just not quite myself today.
If you're not feeling well, you could always take the day off.
I can't do that. I'll get laid off.
I would hate for that to happen. Make sure you take care of yourself, though. All right?
Aidyl nods.
Good. Well, I'll see you later. Gotta get this coffee to everyone else. Enjoy the beer.
Mark winks once more before leaving. Aidyl lifts the coffee lid and sniffs it. She makes a face and places it on her desk. She idly strums her fingers on the desk and looks around.
How much longer do I have to stay here?
Until 5 o'clock.
Aidyl sighs.
It's the least I can do for Lydia, after all. She is the one who freed me from the mirror.
Aidyl takes a look around the office again.
Do you think she would mind if this was the first place I destroyed on my way to world domination?
She seems not to have the highest of regards for this place.
Good. Let's talk somewhere more private.
Aidyl takes her remote and goes to the restroom. She is standing in front of the mirror, which does not contain a reflection for her or her remote.
Do you know how to create henchmen?
I don't know how.
Henchmen, basic requirement for world domination.
I came with a manual, you know.
Yes, the manual. But that's still in Roram.
Lydia's manual is here.
Of course, you're brilliant. What to do, though? What to do?
You could just leave.
Aidyl gasps at this horrid suggestion.
Leave? Leave? And go back on my most sacred word? I told Lydia I'd stay here until 5, so that's what I'm going to do.
What if someone shows up here before you leave?
That could be problematic. I don't think people would take kindly to my wanting to take over the universe.
Is it really important that you stay here? Doesn't Lydia just want money? You could just compensate her financially.
It's not just about money. I gave her my word. I don't want to live in a world where people's word has no meaning.
You already do.
Well, then I'm going to fix it. When I rule the universe, going back on your word will be a bigger offense than high treason.
Outside of the office, London's car pulls into the parking lot. She, Dallas, Zoe, and Lydia get out. Lydia is clutching the remote tightly.
Are you sure she's here?
If she's anything unlike Lydia, she'll keep her promise.
This earns Zoe a particularly nasty glare from Lydia.
What? I also think she'll be using the remote for evil.
Lydia's face doesn't change at all, and the four of them head inside. Many of Lydia's co-workers take notice of them, but all in all, they just don't care. Lydia leads them to her cubicle, where Aidyl is reading papers with a makeup mirror.
What are you doing here?
You're going back home.
I don't want to go back there.
Lydia takes Aidyl's arm.
Well, you have to.
Aidyl snatches her arm away from Lydia.
You don't know what it's like being someone's reflection.
Mark walks by the cubicle and leans on the opposite side of Lydia. He looks at Aidyl.
You never told me you had a twin sister.
Lydia says,
Not now, Tristan.
That's not my name. The name's Mark.
We're kind of busy here, so if you don't mind.
Your sister's not really supposed to be entertaining people during work hours, so I'm afraid I'll have to ask you all to leave.
You heard him, sis.
Lydia grabs Aidyl again, but she shoves her off. Aidyl picks up her purse and hops onto the desk. She jumps over the cubicle and runs. The other four take off after her. The workers clamor about the ruckus. Some just shake their head, while others still simply leave. It is almost 5 after all.
She's probably heading for the exit. Lydia, go back and block it.
Lydia turns around and heads back towards the door.
Dallas, head around the other way and try and force her towards me and Zoe.
Got it.
Dallas circles around the cubicles. Aidyl reaches the other end and turns. She looks up at the clock. It is 4:52 p.m. The four zigzag through cubicles. Working in unison, Dallas and London are able to force Aidyl against the top wall. Once against the wall, London and Zoe force her towards Dallas coming up the opposite wall. Aidyl busts open a door and slams it behind her. There's a lady sitting at a desk. Let's call her Lily.
What are you doing in here?
These people broke in.
Aidyl points to London as she enters the room. Lily scrambles to pick up the phone. London jumps onto the desk and kicks the phone from Lily's hands.
Sorry, ma'am, but I'm afraid you don't understand.
London launches herself at Aidyl, who leaps just out of reach. Zoe appears in the doorway, only to be plowed over by Aidyl. Outside of the room, Dallas takes up the pursuit, but she isn't nearly as close as she'd like. The reflection looks up at the clock as she passes it. 4:57 p.m. She sprints towards the exit, passing Mark on her way.
Mark, help me.
Mark positions himself between Dallas and Aidyl.
Please stay out of this.
Mark grabs at Dallas, but she grabs his wrist, spins him around, and throws him behind her.
Sorry.
Mark's intervention gives Aidyl breathing room with Dallas. The only thing standing in her way is Lydia, who is planted firmly in the exit, pointing the remote at her.
Stop right there.
What are you doing? The only thing you can do is make a black hole.
I've got to do something. I can't just let her try to take over the world.
Aidyl rips out her own remote from her purse. Lydia mashes random buttons on the remote.
I'm out of batteries.
Why didn't you say something earlier?
Aidyl shoves Lydia on the ground and puts her hand on the door. She pauses, only to watch the last moments before 5 p.m. tick away, before exiting the building. The 4 pursuers fly out of the building one by one. Aidyl points her remote at London's car, and a blue beam erupts from it, causing the car to dematerialize. The 4 pursuers skid to a halt as Aidyl runs towards Lydia's car.
My car!
Thought you said she didn't know anything.
She doesn't.
She might have guessed.
We can't just stand here. We have to go after her.
But the uncertainty of Aidyl's capabilities paralyzes the women, as they do nothing but watch her drive away.
Hold on a second. If she's trying to take over the world, but doesn't know how to use the remote...
She's going to get my manual.
Zoe looks at the other cars in the parking lot.
Anyone know how to hotwire a car?
No. I'm going to call Nada.
Leave my sister out of this!
Lydia more or less ignores her entirely and pulls out her cell phone.
She doesn't have anything to do with this.
She went through the black hole with us.
She's not going to remember that.
She might. Lydia did. Is she closer to your house than we are?
Yes.
What is Nada going to do against Aidyl anyway?
She's just going to get the manual and get out of there.
Zoe looks displeased as Lydia calls Nada.
Go. Hey, Nada. It's me.
Hey, Lids, what's up?
Listen, I need you to drive to my house as fast as you can.
What's wrong?
You're going to see a woman who looks exactly like me trying to get into my home. She's not me.
You're not making any sense.
Please, Nada, I need you to trust and believe me. If you don't stop that woman from getting the universal remote manual, things could be very terrible for the universe.
Have you been drinking a lot?
No, I'm not drinking. Do I sound drunk? You've got to hurry. We're wasting time.
You're not slurring, but the words coming out of your mouth.
Lydia runs her hand through her hair.
Yeah, you're right. I've been drinking and I'm completely wasted. And you know what else? I'm driving and talking on my cell phone.
Lydia, get off the phone and pull over.
Nope. You probably shouldn't even let me be home alone.
Lydia, you're not even trying to listen to me. Stop the car and put down the cell phone.
Nope. I'm going home, and I might do something dangerous.
How badly do you want me to go to your house? Jesus, fine. I'll go. Just don't crash or something stupid.
See ya.
Jeez.
Nada pulls into Lydia's driveway. She gets out of the car, muttering to herself. Lydia's car pulls into the driveway, and when it comes to a stop, Nada marches over to it.
What do you think you're doing driving while you're drunk?
Aidyl cocks her head.
I'm not drunk.
Don't give me that. You were just whining to me a few minutes ago about how drunk you are.
What? Oh, yeah, that. In any case, I'm fine.
You better not be fine.
Nada gets closer to Aidyl's face.
Because if you are, you won't be for much longer.
Why are you threatening me? I just want to go inside.
Nada lets out an exasperated sigh.
Fine. Let's get inside and get you to bed.
Aidyl walks towards the house.
I'm not even tired.
Nada blows her hair out of her face before following her. Her cell phone rings, and she pulls it out of her pocket.
Hold up a sec.
Aidyl continues on her way, and Nada answers her phone.
This isn't a good time.
Oh, I think it's the perfect time.
Lydia?
Yes, it's me. Is she there already? What is she doing?
Yeah, she's going inside. What do you need me to do?
We'll be there in about 15 minutes. Until then, don't let her get the manual.
Nada closes the phone and goes inside.
Come into the kitchen. I'll make you some coffee.
Didn't you want me to go to bed a second ago?
You're still going to go to bed, but you're gonna drink coffee first.
That doesn't make any sense. Coffee will just keep me up.
Nada pushes Aidyl towards the kitchen. Aidyl takes a seat and to look around the kitchen as Nada goes through the cabinets looking for coffee. She finds it but she closes the cabinet back up.
How long is this going to take?
Time.
While Nada goes into the pantry, Aidyl stands up and goes into the living room. Nada runs in moments later.
Where do you think you're going?
Into the living room.
Nada takes her arm and pulls her back into the kitchen.
Stay here while I make your coffee.
Aidyl pulls her arms out of Nada's grip.
This is my house. I can go wherever I want to, whenever I want to.
Not when you're drunk.
Nada shoves Aidyl roughly into a chair.
Now sit down.
Some minutes away, on a city bus, Lydia is replacing the batteries in the remote. Zoe is looking out the window, lost in thought.
Why does this thing keep running out of batteries?
He is the most powerful device in the universe. You don't think that takes a lot of power?
But sometimes he doesn't even do anything before running out of batteries.
He'll attempt to do anything you tell him to. If he has enough battery power, the action will be performed successfully. Otherwise, he'll just waste battery power.
That's a stupid design.
He's designed how he's designed.
Just 3 more stops. Until then, I'll teach you some more ways to use the remote besides making and destroying black holes.
Back at Lydia's house in the suburbs, Nada is still looking through the cabinets. Aidyl stands up partway.
Listen, I really don't have time for this.
Find it.
Aidyl stands all the way up.
No, get out of the house.
Nada grits her teeth and clenches her fists tightly. She softens her face and turns to Aidyl.
I can't leave.
I've had enough of this. I'm not drunk, and I don't have time for you. Please leave.
I'm not leaving.
Aidyl draws her remote from her purse and points it at Nada.
Leave, or I'll have to hurt you.
Nada laughs.
Oh, I'm so scared. What are you gonna do, mute me?
Aidyl shrugs and then presses the mute button. Nada attempts, unsuccessfully, to speak. She frowns and then looks at Aidyl, her eyes full of fear.
Stay there, or I'll do much worse than mute you.
Aidyl leaves, and as soon as she's gone, Nada pulls out her cell phone and texts Lydia.
Help, she muted me.
What is she doing?
Looking for manual WYA.
Bus 1 stop away.
Hurry!
Hold on and stay safe.
Leaving before she sees.
As the bus continues on its way, Aidyl searches through the living room, with not much luck in finding the manual. She makes her way upstairs, and the bus reaches its stop. Aidyl kneels by Lydia's bed and pulls out the universal remote manual from under it. A grin on her face, she takes out her makeup mirror, kneels on the carpet, and brushes her brown hair behind her. Aidyl flips to the section on Henchmen and mouths the words before pressing the appropriate buttons on her remote to make a dozen of them.
Orders, ma'am.
4 very annoying women are going to be arriving here soon. One of them looks exactly like me. Don't try to fight her yourself. Leave her to me. Take care of the other 3.
Yes, ma'am.
Aidyl points to 3 of the henchmen.
You, and you. Watch the girl in the kitchen.
Yes, ma'am.
The henchmen leave, and Aidyl resumes reading the manual. The 4 very annoying women arrive, and London picks the lock. They enter, only to come face to face with 9 henchmen, forming a semicircle a few steps from the entrance. Lydia points the remote at them.
Out of the way.
The henchmen look at each other, and they make a path. Henchman number 2 points at Lydia.
Just you, though.
Something's fishy about this.
Can you take this, guys? If you can, I'd like to save my batteries for Aidyl.
Probably. You need to find your friend.
You need to stop Aidyl.
Please don't let my sister die.
I won't.
Lydia runs through the opening, which closes as soon as she passes. The henchmen crack their knuckles and advance on the 3. Dallas and London stand on either side of Zoe and strike martial stances. The Bach sisters close their eyes, London only for a brief moment. They engage in battle, the twins trying their best not to let anyone come near Zoe. As the battle rages on, Lydia walks across the hallway, and she opens her bedroom door slowly. Aidyl hears her and looks up at her. She closes the manual and stands up, holding it in one hand and her remote in the other. Lydia fires a purple beam at Aidyl, and she rolls out of the way. The wall behind her sparkles, outlets blow out, and the lights in the house all go out. Lydia and Aidyl fire a green and yellow beam at each other. They collide, and a ring explodes outwards, sending shockwaves that tear up the floor and knock the combatants off their feet and into the wall. They rise again, only to have the floor collapse underneath them. They land in a pile of rubble in the kitchen. Nada and the three henchmen look their way.
Ma'am!
The henchmen run to Aidyl's side, and Nada takes this moment to escape to the living room. Aidyl is helped to her feet, as Lydia unsteadily stands up on her own. They take aim at each other, and press buttons on their remotes.
I'm out of batteries.
Aidyl doesn't even have time to react before a cyan beam collides with her and her henchmen. They disappear, and a rip in the middle of the air is all that is left. Lydia collapses onto the floor in exhaustion. Dallas, London, Zoe, and Nada walk into the kitchen.
Oh my goodness.
London and Dallas examine the tear, as Nada helps Lydia to sit up.
It looks like they tore a hole in time and space when they were fighting.
Lydia can fix it though, right?
No, you twat! If it's time-space, she can't fix it.
I know how to fix it.
A while later, after Lydia has regained consciousness and unmuted Nada, she is resting on her couch, the others standing around her.
I'm not sure what type of time anomaly it is, but with the help of the remote, I can destroy them.
So, let me get this straight. Lydia is the keeper of reality, and you are a time-traveling retrocog.
Yes. I can also manipulate time, although...
Although what?
I don't know. My powers haven't been working properly. I can't just change time however I want anymore.
You could do that before. That was your powers not working properly. It creates paradoxes incompatible with time when you try to change it for concrete reasons.
I can still change time abstractly.
Can I just say that this makes no sense to me?
If you're confused, imagine how I must feel. I should know this already.
How are we supposed to destroy this time anomaly?
We need to go to another dimension and get Demo.
Who is this demo person I keep hearing about?
She's a human-robot hybrid. She helped me collapse the white holes the last time we went to her dimension.
She'll be able to help us find the time anomaly, too.
So, you're going to make a black hole, and we're going to get Demo?
Yes.
Does Zoe have to go? I don't really like the idea of her jumping through black holes.
I can stay here. Lydia seems to know who Demo is.
Alright, let's just get this over with.
Lydia stands up and stretches. She points the remote at a wall and creates a black hole.
If you guys run into trouble, I'm going to come in after you.
Fair enough.
Nada, London, Dallas, and Lydia jump into the black hole. Zoe heads outside, where Bexs and Sienna are on the front lawn.
Oh good, you're already here.
I did warn you that it got weird, no? But don't worry, there's still plenty more to go, and it can only get weirder from here. The next episode is The Anomaly. Don't miss it.
Additional voices for this episode provided by Rory Reed,
Matthew Allen, and Anna Saade.